This is my jam.
This is your jam. This is what you've been waiting for.
Yes, it is. It is. I just feel like this is what I can talk about best. But
when did you go travelling? When was that? Was that last year or the year before?
So it was this year, just. Well, I've done a lot of on and off travel, but I've never backpacked until this year. So I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of places, but always more as like a holiday. Whereas when I went to Australia, I backpacked it for 7 weeks, and I flew out on New Year's Day, or the day after New Year's Day, so January the 2nd. And I was there for 7 weeks, and I got back, and then the lockdown happened like 2 weeks later in Australia and in Singapore, because I went to Singapore as well. So I got back just before, like, the timing couldn't have been better really in terms of being able to travel this year. So yeah, I was out there for 7 weeks in the winter time, but Australian summer.
Yeah, that must be not actually cold in Australia though.
No, oh god no, it was so hot. It was amazing, and I literally just can't recommend it enough.
Were you solo back travelling? Is that what you were doing, or were you with someone?
No,
Because I think a lot of people go through that issue of I'm doing the same, like, I'm properly having to I kind of want to go to Australia and backpack. Or even just live there and work there for like 3 months or something.
Well, that's what's on my list now, of whenever this is over and Australia reopen their borders, to go back to hopefully live there for a bit. But yeah, no, I did it by myself, so that was a big decision, obviously.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, having I moved to Leeds and I hated it. I was homesick and I had friends there, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go off to Australia by myself.
That's a great idea. That'll be.
My mum and dad were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, are you sure you're sure? And I was really nervous when I like flew out there, obviously. I think the most overwhelming bit was the 24 hours on the plane by myself, because as soon as I got there, I just met so many friends, because most people, or a lot of people, solo travel Australia, so they're in the same boat. So I met people in my hostel on the very first day that I'm still friends with now, that I speak to, because they were by themselves as well. And I think I was lucky because I did it, although I did go out there by myself, I did it in like little tour groups. So I would meet people and I would travel with them for like 1 week, and then it would be like an organised tour, so I was never like completely on my own, and I was never like in any danger or like in a situation that I hadn't planned before I got there. Yeah.
See, that's an issue that I'm sort of going through my mind, is if I did, because the chances are I'm never going to find anyone who's willing to commit to going to Australia with me.
Exactly, so. Yeah, which was my issue. And I also think that if you do it with somebody, you have to make sure that they're also having a good time and that you're doing something that you both want to do. Whereas if you go for yourself, as selfish as it sounds, like, you're just having the best time because you're doing what you want to do without the responsibility of anybody being with you, which is why I didn't want to do it with any of my friends. And I know that sounds mean because I've got some amazing friends, but I wanted to do it alone.
But you're just like, this is me time now.
Yeah, I was like,
this is
I'm
all
going
about
out
me.
to Australia, and it just sounded so cliche, and all my friends were like, oh, you're going to find yourself, and I was like, no, but then kind of, yeah, because I did just have 7 weeks of like just me doing exactly what I wanted and having the best time.
Yeah, I mean, that is the worry that I have if I did choose to do that, whether I would find people to meet. But is that how you do it, going through like hostels and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's one of the most travelled places, and the East Coast, so like from Melbourne or Sydney up to Cairns, is the most backpacked route in the world. So you're never going to be on your own, because there's hostels every couple of miles, and also there's just people that are also out there on your own. So what happened to me quite often was, like, although I was in a tour group and I was with similar people, we'd bump into people a week or two later that we'd met 2 weeks ago, because they were doing the same route, just on a different time scale. So you'd sit down for breakfast in the hostel and you'd be like, oh, I saw you in Brisbane, hi, and it'd be really bizarre, but it was just
catch up.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. So I don't think you'd have to worry about not meeting people, because there's so many young travellers there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It's definitely really something that I'm thinking, like, if I'm going to do it, it's got to be now rather than never.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt like. And when I got home, I said that to my boyfriend, and I said, look, if you want to do it, because he was very on the fence, and to start with I was like, well, we could do it together, but he works full time and he was happy for me to go on my own. And when I got back, he was like, do you know what, you've kind of convinced me, and I feel like if I don't do it now, there's never a right time in my life that is going to be better than this, because one day you're going to have a house and you're going to have kids, and it's like, this is now, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's got to be, for me personally, it's got to be probably graduate and then maybe make that decision to do
Which
it.
is what a lot of people, in fact most people that I met out there had come either straight from school and they were 18 doing a gap year, or straight from graduating and they were like 21, 22, 23 and doing a gap year or a couple of months in Australia.
Yeah. I'm just half expecting my parents like got a cup to the door just going like, what the hell is he talking about?
No, honestly, just do it.
Who's paying for this?
Yeah, well, my parents were a bit cautious because I'd never solo travelled before. I'd never even flown on my own before. But as soon as I got there and I just fell in love with it, they were like, you've made the right decision.
I can imagine it wouldn't take long for you to arrive in Australia and think, this is the place to be.
Yeah, literally. I think it was within the first week I was like, I love this place. Like, it's like everything the UK is, but 100 times better. It really is.
Oh, that is an advocation for sure.
It is. Yeah, I am the biggest advocate.
What's the expenses like though for going to? Is it easy enough to play it on the cheap sort of thing, but still have a pretty good experience? Yeah,
absolutely. I think Australia is quite expensive as a place just because you can't get there for cheap. So you've got to save up a lot just to be able to fly there because the flights are expensive. Once you get there, I don't think it's too bad. The exchange rate with the UK makes it really good, but obviously you can travel to other places cheaper. Like if you were to do Thailand or if you were to do any of Southeast Asia, that is more affordable than Australia. But I think for the experience, it's well worth it in Australia, and you can do it for like $15 a night in a hostel, that kind of price. So it's not too bad.
What's the most like freaky insect that you saw? You must have seen something.
Yeah, I did. I think that was the thing I was the most nervous about, because I'm terrified of spiders. Like, I would say I've never met anybody with a worse fear of spiders than me. Which
well, I think you've gone to the worst place in the world.
I know. And I was like, why am I doing this? And my parents were like, Molly, what are you doing? And I was like, I won't see any. And they were like, yeah, you will. But I actually only saw one spider in 7 weeks, and I think I thought they were going to be like crossing the road in front of me every single day, but they're not that common. So I did see one. I saw a huntsman spider. I don't know if you know what they look like. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. They're the ones that can grow to like the size of your hand, aren't they?
Yeah. And it was about that big, but I was doing this like camping excursion, so we were staying in like a base camp, and it was beautiful. It was like on a beach and everything, but because it was on a beach, cobwebs everywhere. So when I wasn't seeing spiders, I was seeing their cobwebs. But then we were walking back from the beach and everybody stopped and I was like, what are you looking at? And just on the path there was like huntsman spider about that big, and I was like, no. But I was kind of okay because it wasn't inside. But then I spent the whole night that I was in our little like hut thing with my phone torch, like checking around, checking the bed. See,
that's got to be like the worst thing, because then chances are you will find something.
Well, exactly. All my friends that I made out there, they were like, don't go looking for them, and I was like, no, I need to check there's not anywhere. And they were like, she's doing her like search of the room again, and I was like, yeah, I am, because I don't want to be bitten by a huntsman spider.
I mean, an understandable concern to have.
Exactly. Yeah. But luckily, I didn't see any snakes. I didn't see anything really crazy. There's a lot of lizards that just walk around in the street and in the road, and I mean like big lizards like this size.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it is. I was like taken aback, but yeah, it's got some beautiful wildlife as well. Like, it's just a really nice country. Big fan, if you couldn't tell.